IDF publishes video of Sinwar fleeing with luxury goods before October 7th. And if you want to play that clip first, and then we'll go to it. Let me just maybe reference so people know who we're talking about and the history of what he's done. I don't know if you have that rap here or not, but Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, the butcher of Khan Younis and the architect of October 7 massacre, was killed by Israeli forces in Gaza after a year-long hunt. The body was discovered with a gunshot wound to the head, and he identified through fingerprints and dental records. Sinwar's death occurred after an intense firefight with Israeli forces. He had been hiding in Gaza's Rafah's area, and despite attempts to evade capture, was killed when Israeli soldiers fired 2 tank shells and a missile into the building where he sought refuge. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei declared that despite Sinwar's death, Hamas is alive and will remain alive. Meanwhile, Israeli officials celebrated his death as a major victory, with Foreign Minister Israel Katz calling it a great military and moral achievement and a key step towards a new reality in Gaza. Go ahead, Rob. Is this the clip of the drone catching him?
This is the drone seeing
ahead,
him, yeah. And I think he throws like a... Dude, look at the technology, man. Like,
he's going to be camouflaged, guys. Look for him. He's going to be camouflaged. He's there right now. He's not seeing
to
him.
the left.
He's in the chair.
yeah, he's sitting in the chair with the... Yep, look at him. Boom.
Now, there's going to be a drone that comes. I'm sorry.
Go play by play.
There's going to be a drone that comes in. And he's got something in his hand that looks like a sword. I think it might be a stick. It kind of looks like a sword. Yeah, and he kind of uses the what I believe is wood as a stick. He's totally camouflaged. That's because of the missile. They said something actually kind of funny there. They said they fired 2 shots and a missile.
And
it's
a
like, well, yeah, you know, come on, just
missile.
lead with the missile. just shot the damn missile.
Yeah, because they did. By the way,
look at it.
Is he bleeding? Like, is his arm... Like, he's banged up, right?
Sitting at home, fell asleep watching Kimmel or something?
Yeah. Okay, he throws the sword and like...
Yeah, I'm changing my mind. I think he actually had a sword.
It might have been the sword.
But he's thrown it at a drone.
Yeah, the drone's not...
And I believe the drone explodes, doesn't it? If we keep playing this, isn't that what...
Well, I think it's the missile. I think, like you said, the missiles and the rockets that get shot in there, and he had shrapnel in his head. Well, they're saying he died from a bullet wound, but it looked like his head was...
No. I look at it this way. A gunshot wound to the head and was identified through fingerprints and dental records, which means there wasn't enough of his face left to identify him. Yep. So that is a big old gunshot to the head.
Yep. Not done, man. They play with Netanyahu.
Yep.
And by the way, going with Netanyahu.
He's upset. You said that he's got his house shot, by the way. You never elaborated
on it. A drone hits Netanyahu's house. This is Axios reporting on this. And so an explosive drone launched by Hezbollah from Lebanon hits Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's private home in the coastal town of Caesarea on Saturday. This is the first time since the beginning of the war that a target affiliated directly with Netanyahu has been hit. Netanyahu's spokesperson confirmed his private residence was targeted on Saturday morning local time, adding the prime minister and his wife were not at the residence at the time of the attack, and there were no casualties. 3 drones were launched from Lebanon and crossed into Israeli airspace. Israeli officials say 2 were intercepted by Israeli attack helicopters, but the 3rd eluded them. In a short video in English, Netanyahu has said nothing will deter him from continuing Israel's fight against Iran and its proxies. Rob, what video did you just show? The one that you just had up?
This is the drone, one of the drones that broke through out of the 3.
Let me see. Is this the one? This is the drone.
Yep.
And you don't see that drone?
Yeah, what?
What do you mean you don't see that drone?
I could clearly...
And that's what hits the house?
According to reports, yes.
That alarm reminds me back of Iran days. Let me tell you, Tabajo, Alamat Kermez. Yeah, and what do you have a clip of what Netanyahu says in response to this?
Yes, let me find it real quick.
Yeah, if you could. Vinny, what do you think about this?
With the drone getting close?
Just the whole back and forth, you know, the Hamas leader, you know, Netanyahu.
I mean, if you think about it, it's Israel is showing the methodical, like, dude, from the pagers. From the pagers to this, it's like here's my question, Pat. They're killing all these leaders. They're gonna the next person's stepping right up, aren't they? And it's not like they're not qualified. You know what I mean? You're gonna take out these guys, and they're like, what did Iran say? Oh yeah, we're not stopping. We're gonna keep going. You got it. And when they say about cutting off the head of the snake, bro, this snake has so many heads. The next person will step up, and it's never. This is again, it'll never stop. You are never going to stop. You could kill as many of these guys.
Can I ask you a question? So here's a question for you. Where is ISIS?
Well, they made a little comeback. I mean, they're technically gone, but I think they're already starting to make threats, and they are coming back under Biden, obviously.
So the question becomes, ISIS used to be ISIS.
Yeah.
Like ISIL, ISIS.
ISIL, that's
right?
what Obama used to call them, ISIL. He used to pronounce it right.
So all of a sudden, we don't have that many conversations about them anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe under the right leader, they could disappear. Just maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe if somebody thinks you're capable of doing something and your threats actually have a meaning, maybe something could happen. Tom, you look like you want to say something.
Absolutely. People, I think everybody in this room remembers who Muammar Gaddafi was.
Of course.
Muammar Gaddafi was the Libya strongman. And Libya caused trouble, did a lot of things, took down a passenger airliner, Pan Am, over Lockerbie, Scotland, took credit for it, and then Reagan says, all right, I had enough of that crap. You're taking credit for it? I'm going to take credit for busting up your house, and which Reagan did. So, but did you notice what went on after that? Is the CIA and Army Rangers and things and the missions that went in there, what happened to Libya? What happened to the Libya strongman and his militia of death, Ahmad or whatever it was called, right? What happened?
He got killed.
That's right. He eventually got dragged down an alleyway in his own capital city and executed by a mob of citizens. They call that voting over there. So it's like, you just lost the election, dude.
Yeah.
So, but seriously, what happened to all of that? Libya was neutralized and done. To Pat's point, you can get after it. You have to be persistent. You have to keep going. It is a long slog of a fight. You're right, Vinny. You can't kill two guys and then let all their kids grow up.
Yeah.
Right? You got to get after it. And look what happened with Libya. Libya is off the map. There's still a bad country, but there's no longer, a Muammar Gaddafi level guy there doing stuff. Either that or he's doing it really, 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 really quietly because they said, no, remember what happened to the last guy.
And Tom, I love your point. I'll see you to a more recent example. And the bad guys won this one. The bad guys were the persistent, but the Sinaloa cartel. If you took a job as a police officer, in comes the cartel. One after the next, after the next. They thought they could just keep replacing them until they can't. You cannot hire a police officer in certain parts of Mexico anymore. The cartel did win that. So, hey, there's something to be said for this. I will tell you, I like the concept, by the way, of a very bad idea to land a drone into the boss's house where his wife could be. However, I do like the concept of if this country wants to fight, this country wants to fight, then get this president to fight this president. This is very weird that your militaries have to go fight each other, but you don't attack as civilians. I mean, it would seem like if you're in war, I'm going to roll over and do the most damage that I can, but it's not played that way. You just have to kill the people that kind of signed up and break their equipment, and they break your equipment. The whole thing just gets a little bit weird, I must tell you. Do you want to know the number one point to the Olympic Games, by the way, fellas? The number one point to the Olympic Games. You're talking about who's got a great military. When I was in junior high, the number 4 ranked military in the world was Iraq, who did not even have bullets. The point is, nobody knows who's got a good military. Nobody can fight. How do you say I got the best military in the world? Well, I don't know another guy with a military, so I'm sure that you probably do. Like, I can't go compare militaries, and none of you are good at fighting anyway. But I do understand the age range that you take, and I do understand discipline. I understand hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. So we're going to hold something every 4 years called the Olympic Games. And if you go check the medal count of the Olympic Games and you juxtapose that against the world leaders that are said to have the greatest militaries, it is 100% hand in hand. And that is why we as a country fund our Olympic athletes so incredibly much, more than we do the high schools, the colleges, or the pros are completely on their own. We do that because guys like Putin realize it's the same guys. It's that same age range that either can take leadership, they can take direction, they can sacrifice when they need to and come out on top, or they can't. That's why those are so important.
What a perspective, by the way, right? What a perspective to give on this. Rob, is this him responding?
Yes.
Let's hear what it is. It's 22 seconds. Go ahead.
Prime Minister, how is it going? Well, 2 days ago, we took out Yahya Sinwar, the terrorist mastermind, whose goons beheaded our men, raped our women, burnt babies alive. We took him out, and we're continuing our battle with Iran's other terrorist proxies. We're going to win this war.
So will something deter you?
No.
Yeah. He's determined. He's not going to stop. He's not going to stop until he gets. I mean, listen, for them to retaliate and get a drone to get to the house, props to them. I mean, if you think about it, if you're
tactically
on their side and you're rooting for them, right? It's like another way of saying, because the way you do it, if you can go straight after the leader of the leader of the leader and take that guy out, everybody else is like, whoa. If they can get to him, they can get to me. So this is the whole when Nasrallah, got killed, the next guy took the job. He also got killed.
Quick.
Then they're doing job interviews. Like, nah, I'm passing. My wife said it's not. I don't want the job right now to be the CEO of this whole thing because I want to be taken out. So that's the part where this is. They're not changing their position. By the way, when I had Trump on, one of the things that I asked him about and about Iran, is how far would he go with Iran? Is he going to use the sanctions? He says, I'm very fertile. There's a lot. My mind is fertile. And I like the fact he used that word 2 or 3 times, fertile, that he can use different methods. And he says, look, we can't even take care of ourselves, let alone govern another nation. We can't solve everybody's problems. But I tell you, if he comes in and he brings back sanctions and Iran reacts from a place of, this guy is back. He took out Qasem Soleimani, our hero. He took out our pats and bragged about it publicly, and he's back. What is Iran going to be doing? Will they be shivering? You think Netanyahu feels like Trump's going to have his back more than Biden? What do you think Netanyahu's going to feel like? You think Netanyahu's rooting for Kamala to get elected? They don't like each other. Biden doesn't like Netanyahu. And Trump said, Bibi's going to listen to me 100%. I don't know if you caught that when he said that. Bibi's going to listen to me 100%.
Of course he said that.
If this is the case, and that's what's going on, you better believe behind closed doors when they're saying Iran is trying to assassinate the president, believe the story if it's going on, because they do not want that guy in there, because they're not going to be able to do what they want to do if that guy gets in.
Right.
Again, if that is the case. Go ahead, Adam.
Look, they say the famous phrase, you may lose the battle, but win the war. This whole thing started on October 7th. I'm not trying to go back in history, but October 7th, this guy was the mastermind of that. This has backfired horribly for the people of Gaza, for the Palestinians, for the Lebanese, who had no vote in this. This was the Hamas terrorists that decided unilaterally to go in and attack Israel, and look at the results. And, it's kind of like if you were going to fight a fighter and boom, he got in the first punch, and you're like, all right, that's how you want to play? We're going to play this game, and they're saying that they're going to kill you, and you step in the ring, and you beat the living crap out of them. And they're using terms like genocide, and they're using terms like apartheid. I don't think people actually know what that means or what's going on there. And it's always convenient that people in America and people in Europe who have never spent any time in the Middle East that know what it's like there. It's a very rough neighborhood. And the only thing that these people respond to is strength. And what's the Reagan doctrine? Peace through strength. So, what's the famous phrase? The main difference between the Palestinians and the Israelis is the Israelis actually have the capabilities to eliminate all the Palestinians, but they choose not to. The Palestinians would love to eliminate all the Israelis, but they don't have the capabilities to. The Palestinians, the Lebanese, whether it's Nasrallah, whether it's Yahya Sinwar, whether it's Ismail Haniyeh, you brought up, who's the guy that Trump took out in Iran? Soleimani, whether it's going to eventually be the Ayatollah, mark your words, they've been outmaneuvered, they've been outclassed, they've been outsmart, they've been out everything around every single corner. And the October 7th anniversary was just here, was the worst and arguably one of the best days in Israeli history. What do I mean by that? Horrible. But they said, all right, you want to play this game? All right, let's go for it. And Israel has basically said, what they did in Lebanon, we've never seen you take out an army with walkie-talkies, with beepers. What is going on here? Taking out leaders of other countries who are sworn enemies like that. They can do it surgically. They can do it with bombs. Israel, if you take, Rob, I don't know if you can pull this up. Take a look at the map of the Middle East and look where Israel is versus the Middle East, and tell me Israel's the big bad bully in the Middle East. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's the entire Middle East. There's 50 Muslim Arab countries around the world. There's one Jewish state, and the Jewish state is the bad guy. This is why the world believes that the United Nations is an absolute joke, because you have a bunch of states that basically are Israel haters. And thank God they have America on their side.
Where do you stand with that?
Well, I got to tell you, just Adam's point, I actually got to go to Jerusalem. We were calling a fight over there. It was a Bellator. I take my beautiful wife, and the Iron Dome gets enacted. Somebody fires a missile, so we get taken in. We're having a breakfast, and they're ready for it, man. The staff goes into work, and it was just like a drill back when I was in school for a fire drill. They were organized down there. Never met Hoist Gracie before. I'm at a bomb shelter with Hoist Gracie in Israel, talking about, hey, Hoist, how are you doing here? We're all locked in, and it was an interesting thing, but I will tell you this after standing there. And you'll think about it from this perspective, and you will not question anymore who the good guy or the bad guy is. If you took every single weapon out of the Middle East, and I mean all of them, you don't got so much as a butter knife, and you give them to Israel, nothing in the world changes. If you take every weapon away from Israel, they will be gone by this weekend. And that is the truth.
Yeah. I'll say one last thing, because I've been in these bomb shelters when you're just trying to have a lunch and all. What's going on here? What's going on? Oh, run for cover. I was talking with an Israeli soldier, and I was like, listen, as an American, he's like, I don't think you understand. You're safe because we're dying. We're on the front lines. You're safe. You don't deal with radical Islamic terrorism in Miami, in New York, in California. You don't deal with it. We deal with it. We're on the front. And he starts yelling at me, and I'm like, dude, I'm on your side. Relax. He's like, you don't deal with the stuff we deal with. So basically, shut your mouth.
Good perspective, though.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So we're safe because there's somebody on the front lines protecting us.
Well,
by the way, it's not just Israel. You see what Jordan's doing, Egypt to an extent. Egypt's not taking in the Palestinians. What's
Adam,
going on
we got to
there?
wrap up. The Super VIP one sold out. I think the one for lunch is sold out. There's a few of the VIP ones left, and everything else is moving. Here's the update. Who's going to be attending? You need to know. I already said to you, Michael Francis, Samuel Gravano, Brian Callen, Dave Smith. Here's some new ones. Little Pump reached out.
Yeah,
Little Pump. He's attending. You got Candace Owens is attending. You got, who else? Oh, you got, who did I miss? I just said another. Oh, Jorge Masvidal will be there with us. Jorge's going to be there, which is going to be exciting. And a bunch of other people will be there. So if you haven't yet picked up your ticket before this thing sells out, all the tiers, Rob, play this clip and then we'll get right into the podcast. Go ahead. I got a big announcement to make. Property I'm on right now. We've been working on buying this property for the last 3 years. It's one of its last kind in America. Why? It's on 11 acres. It's got 2 hangars. It's on an airport. Upgrades of $7 million made here. That's going to be the new headquarters of Valuetainment Media, Consulting, the podcast, the whole nine. And what we wanted to do, we want to find a way to celebrate this as a new headquarters with inviting you to an event on November 5th, which is election night. A lot of different things people will be talking about, business owners. What's going to happen if it goes this way? What's going to happen if it goes that way? So imagine 2,000 people being here. Let me show you around. Some of you will have a private meeting with me. That's the elite. That's going to be a few of you. Some will get a private tour of the entire office from us. There's a hangar in the back. So you come up here. Imagine there's going to be a couple major tents, 40 feet by 100 feet, where some of the people that are buying general tickets will be there. But over here inside the hangar is where the podcast will be held. This entire thing will be open like it is right now. Inside of it, myself, the PBD podcast crew, some of the super VIPs will be invited to go upstairs in a section that we have that's got a bar, a restaurant, food, kitchen. You're eating, you're watching it from all the way up there while we're doing the podcast down here in the hangar. So imagine in this room, there's 1,000 people, right? While we're going through this whole thing. Conversation, it's going to be from 6 p.m. is when it starts. All the way up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Maybe we'll go 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because a lot of things that's going to be going on. And by the way, do you know why we're not cutting this? We're on an airport. These are planes. We have to hear because right here is the airport. And FYI, messy place right there at that stadium right behind us. There's 5 ticket tiers that you can purchase. Each one's got more things to offer. But even locally, there's general tickets to buy for just $75. Bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your family, bring your friends. There's one caveat after you buy the ticket. When you buy the ticket and you come on November 5th, you have to wear Future Looks Bright gear. I'm talking Future Looks Bright hat, a shirt. Doesn't matter. You're going to have to show I got some kind of Future Looks Bright gear because we want everybody here to spread the message and the energy of optimism around the world, back to their states, wherever you're going to be. So November 5th, click on the link above or below, get registered. And if you're watching this saying, well, Pat, I like to travel private. Can I bring my private jet here? 5 of you guys will be. After you buy your ticket, then you can ask us, and that's only available to the tickets at the highest level possible to bring your jet and park it here. So having said that, get your tickets, and I cannot wait to see you November 5th, 6 p.m. at our new headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
That was a great pitch, PBD.
Right?
I got to tell you. One take?
Yes,
that was
one
fire.
take. One take. We're going to have a good time. Get your tickets. Go to 5990live.com, Rob, if you can put the link or the QR code. We are looking. By the way, if that night goes the way I think it may go, that night we may have a hard time pushing people out of this place.
That's what I'm
saying. Go home, buddy. Go home.
No, we want to stay.
It's going to be crazy, but we'll see what will take place.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.